Tyler, Caroline, producer Liam here with you all on the Giant pregame show presented by Sherwood Ford. Tyler, what's poppin'?
Oh, not too much. Back-to-back games. I like this. It's busy. We got a couple
good.
back-to-back pregame shows. It'll be good.
I know. Liam, you're off camera. Tell everyone how you're doing. Say okay. I'm okay. All right. Oilers taking on the Dallas Stars tonight in Dallas. But first, let's recap the game against the Blackhawks. Obviously, the Oilers won 5-2. Let's talk about it. Goals by Draisaitl, McDavid, Tyson Barrie, Ryan McLeod, Yamamoto. But first, before we get to the goal stories, let's talk about Broberg. First NHL career game and also his first NHL career point against the Blackhawks.
Yeah, he picked up an assist in the first period, and I really liked what I saw from Philip Broberg. He played just under 15 minutes at 5-on-5 when he was on the ice. The Oilers outshot the Blackhawks 11-7. I noticed him do a few good things, but other than that, it was a quiet game for the most part from Broberg, and that's good. I like that. You know, if you're going to be a solid defensive defenseman, if he has games like that more often than not, Broberg's going to be sticking around for a while. So I liked what I saw from him in the debut.
I totally agree with that. Let's totally go to Yamo with 4 goals, 1 assist on the season. Could be better, but maybe he's starting to pick up his stride a little bit. And let's also talk about this team having fun, because we also saw Yamo and Connor in the post-game press conference and just, Yamo telling everyone, hey, those chants are for me. Connor, given his typical, we don't have fun around the media look, but this team looks like they're having fun. They're buzzing. They're enjoying themselves. And maybe that's, helping Yamo get his job done on the ice as well.
Yeah, I think, those Saturday night post-game press conferences when, the crowd's wild outside of the little Hall of Fame room, they've been some must-watch TV. But, Yamamoto, really good. A shorthanded goal as well, so it was nice to see the other side of the special teams coin come through for the Oilers. And the Ryan McLeod goal was really encouraging for me as well. His second career NHL goal. He's had a couple now since he's been recalled, and this team needs depth scoring, and that's what really impressed me. We've seen them come out and have some really, really slow starts recently. They came out of the gates hot. They got a goal from the power play, goal from the penalty kill, goal from the bottom 6, and that's pretty much a perfect start to the hockey game, and it ended up being able to carry them to a victory.
For the first time this season against the Blackhawks, we saw multiple penalties drawn by the best player in the world, that is Connor McDavid. Yes. Do we think that the NHL may be starting to feel the pressure of the negativity that's coming from this? John Tortorella saying that Connor just has to stop whining about it, but is the NHL protecting the superstar in doing that?
Yeah, I think it might be working a little bit here. That game against Chicago was an encouraging sign to see him drawing penalties, and it's not something that the league can just, tell the refs, hey, for the next week, make sure you're calling those and then back to normal, right? It's got to happen long-term wise. And hopefully, my favorite thing would be that this isn't a conversation halfway through the year and the calls just get made and the officiating's not a story, because that's when the game's at its best.
Connor is also on a 17-game point streak. Let's talk about it. We've been talking about Draisaitl, which obviously he really deserves to be in the conversation right now, leading the NHL in points and goals. But Connor's also on a hot streak right now, which also deserves to be in the conversation.
Yeah, 17-game point streak to start the season. If you go back to last regular season, it's 23 straight regular season games where Connor McDavid has picked up a point. So it's quite the run he's putting together. And I did see there were odds out there. I think it was 50-1 on if McDavid could go all 82 games this year getting a point, which would be absolutely insane, and I obviously don't think he'll do it, but it was great to see those games like the one against Chicago where the depth comes through and plays really well for them, but the McDavid magic always makes the game enjoyable.
Let's quickly touch on Stuart Skinner before we move on. 29 saves on the night. Is he the guy to go to now over Mikko Koskinen? Do we have more trust in Skinner than Koskinen?
Absolutely. Through 4 starts here, the game against Buffalo maybe wasn't great when he allowed 3 goals on 23 shots, but all 3 of those goals were breakaways when I look back at that one. He's been great pretty much every time they've put him between the pipes this season, and in my opinion, he's their number 1 now. I know, again, it's only been 4 games, 5 appearances for him, but even if he plays poorly tonight, I go back to him Saturday in the big game against Vegas. I just think he's the hot hand right now, and he deserves to not only keep getting these starts, but he deserves a little bit of a leash as well.
All right, let's move on to the opposition report presented by Yegburger. Guys, as you know, please leave us comments in all the chats. We're here looking at everything, so please talk to us. But right now, we know that the Oilers are in Dallas taking on a 7-2 Stars team led by Miro Heiskanen, who has 13 points on the season so far. Obviously, Pavelski, Ben, Sagan not too far behind. Tyler will get more into their performances. But the Stars are coming off of a 4-1 win against the Blues on Saturday. Yep. I think that this is a team that the Oilers can absolutely deal with. But what should we expect in this match tonight?
Yeah, the Oilers can absolutely deal with them. And again, this is something we talked about in a few matchups earlier in the season. The Oilers are a great offensive team. They're below average defensively. The Stars are almost the reverse of that. They've really struggled with 5-on-5 offense. They're near the bottom of the league in shots for per 60 at 5-on-5. They're near the bottom of the league in goals for per 60 at 5-on-5. Their strength is in their blue line. You just saw in the graphic there, Miro Heiskanen is their leading goal scorer. So a strong defense, a weak offense. Goaltending has been pretty good for them with Jake Ottinger as well. They're 3-2 in their last 5. They're 4-4-2 in their last 10. Just no matter which way you dice up this Stars team, average, I'd say, is the best word to describe them. So if the Oilers bring their A game, they should be 2 points.
Awesome. Lineups presented by Deuce Vodka for the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, let's dig into it for the Stars. That top line, as you can see there, rolling with Roope Hintz, Joe Pavelski, and Jason Robertson. Hintz and Robertson, that's the future of this team. I know, Pavelski, Sagan, and Ben are maybe the more household names, but those are the two guys you're going to want to watch. Robertson had 40-plus points last year in the shortened season. The second line, Jamie Benn with Dennis Gurianov and Michael Raffle. Third line is Tyler Sagan, who just has 2 points in his last 5 games, with Luke Glendening and Joel Caravanta. And Radek Faksa centers the fourth line with Alex Radulov and Jacob Peterson. The D pairings, Ryan Suter with John Klingberg, Esa Lindell with Miro Heiskanen, the former Oiler Andre Sekera, old sexy Reg, and Yanni Hakanpää is the third pairing. I mean, Sekera Hakanpää is obviously the third pairing, but that top 4 for the Stars is really, really strong. They're on home ice. They have last change. McDavid and Draisaitl is going to see a lot of that Stars top 4, and that's really the key battle in this hockey game. If the Oilers can get a couple from their top 6 when Lindell and Klingberg are on the ice and Heiskanen, and the bottom 6 maybe picks one up, that's probably enough for them to win this hockey game. Last thing I want to say quickly on the Stars, big special teams advantage for the Oilers. Not only are the Stars 27th in the NHL when it comes to PK percentage, they're also 4th in the league in terms of time shorthanded per game. So the Oilers power play, it should get some looks tonight. The Stars have been pretty undisciplined early in the year, and if it gets its chances, Dallas's PK has not been very good.
Okay, huge chance for the Oilers then to dominate on the power play. All right, let's move on to the lineups presented by Deuce Vodka for the good guys, the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, for the Oilers, the top 6 is going to stay the same. McDavid, Hyman, Puljujarvi, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, Yamamoto. The third line, that's going to stay the same as well. McLeod with Kassian and Foegele. On the last pregame show, I talked about how that trio was coming off a little bit of a poor performance. They bounced back really well. Outshot the Hawks 9-3 at 5-on-5. Got the goal with McLeod. The fourth line's going to look different as well. Tyler Benson is coming out. Derek Ryan is actually going to return after missing a few games with, they called it an upper body injury. I think it's pretty clear it was a head injury. Ryan with Perlini and Turris is going to be your expected fourth line for the Oil. The D pairings, Keith with Bouchard, Broberg with Ceci, Russell with Barry. Obviously nothing changing there. You mentioned it earlier, between the pipes, it is going to be Stuart Skinner. One player I want to zero in on, though, is Jesse Puljujarvi, and a little bit of a slow start for JP, or a slow run right now for Jesse Puljujarvi. In his last 6 games, he's mustered up just 1 point. He was on fire early in the year, and he's really cooled off. And the hot start buys you a little bit of time, but Puljujarvi's one of the guys that I think the Oilers would like to see get going a little bit more offensively.
Do you see the Bison King biting back tonight against the Stars?
I'll get to some of the odds in my betting report coming up, but he's got to get going eventually here.
Yeah.
He's getting his chances. He's hit his shot prop in his last 4 games, I believe, getting at least 3 shots on goal in each of them. So I think with Puljujarvi, maybe slumping isn't even the right word. Snake bit is probably the best way to say it. He's getting chances. They're just not going in. Him and Hyman as well, who bounced back with a point last game. But I think the Oilers could benefit from both those guys getting going. And hey, Connor McDavid down the middle there as well. If that top line can find a new level with those 2 support guys next to 97, then that'll certainly help the Oilers on this road trip.
All right, Tyler, tell everyone where you're spending your money today on the bet of the game presented by PointsBet, and the Edmonton Oilers, the underdogs.
Yes, they are underdogs, coming in at -105 on the money line. The Stars are -115. The Oilers 2-0 this year as underdogs, and not only have they won each of those games, they've won them by at least 2 goals. So the Oilers on the reverse puck line, coming in at, I think, about +250 is a really interesting spot as well. I'm just double checking that I have that right. Yeah, +220 for the Oilers, -1.5 tonight. My bet of the game, which has hit 3 games in a row on the year, by the way, we are 11-7, +2.25 units as well. So things are going well on the bet of the game. Hyman was my pick last game. Tonight, though, Oilers in regulation. I think they'll have enough to beat this Stars team that, again, is just pretty average. It's paying +135, courtesy of our friends over at PointsBet. Oilers in regulation is your bet of the game. I mentioned Jesse Puljujarvi, -115 to get a point, plus 220 to score a goal. So if you like Puljujarvi to bounce back and find the score sheet, those are the payouts.
Go Bison King. All right,
Yes.
quickly, Zodiac report, Philip Broberg. That's who we're going to talk about today. He's a Cancer. So are a lot of other players on this Oilers team. As you guys know from previous pregame shows, I love Cancers. They're a water sign. They are loyal, dependable, tenacious, and helpful. We saw exactly all of this in Broberg's first NHL career game where he picked up his first NHL career apple. So why not keep the momentum going tonight against the Dallas Stars? And I'd love for him to get another point, to get another goal, to help this team because he's 20 years old. I'm rooting for him. He's fresh, young talent, and everyone seems to be loving him. So let's get another one tonight, Philip.
I want to touch on this in the Facebook chat from Will. He talking about Dave Tippett's decision to go with Turris over Sevier. That is the one spot that I think is still unconfirmed. That might be a game time flip flop. I wouldn't be surprised if Sevier actually gets in. I know I said Turris on the fourth line, but I think Tippett might go for a little bit of a change there. So Turris for Sevier is the one spot in the Oilers lineup that still might flip flop a little bit here.
Anything else in the chat? I'm just getting a lot of love for Fogle and Draisaitl in the Twitter chat.
Colin in the Facebook chat, Leon needs to set up the Bison King for an empty netter again to get him going. I mean, that's what got Puljujarvi out of his last little cold spell here. He's been a little streaky this year, but that's the nice part about when you're in the spot that Puljujarvi is. You're with McDavid. You're in front of the net on the power play sometimes. You're going to get your looks eventually. My chair just about broke. That's alarming.
Tyler's throwing things at me, everyone.
But if you're Puljujarvi, like, you're getting the shots, there's really no reason to be overly frustrated because you're going to get your chances. I'm really nervous. This is just going to fall apart.
I want it to be like one of those things where you throw a ball and, someone sinks into the water tank. I'm waiting.
That's not what you want to see coming from your chair, eh?
Oh my God, that was so funny. That was honestly one of my favorite Draisaitl moments, I'm not going to lie, this season. I know he's had a lot of hot moments, but when he passed that puck to Puljujarvi.
With the hat trick on the line.
With the hat trick on the line and gave, Puljujarvi a chance to get on the board and then obviously propel his goal streak, his point streak, his hot streak, whatever you want to call it. I really love that by Leon Draisaitl. I think it's said a lot about his character and how he's a team player. I think he always has been, but like he said in the past that he has his achievements, his accolades, he's done all the individual stats. Now he wants a team win and obviously a cup, and I thought that was really admirable of him.
The Twitch chat is not happy that I was giving so much love to the Facebook chat, so my apologies to Electronic Jordan and Surveyor Brett there. I will give more love to you guys next time.
Also, hey, Electronic Jordan and Surveyor Brett, I think you guys are awesome. And Spiced Oil, everyone's awesome, but they're like, I swear, our regulars.
Yep. Yeah, the Twitch chat's full of our regulars. So is Will on Facebook. He's always commenting every game.
Yeah, guys, we appreciate you. Thank you.
Spiced Oil in the Twitch chat talking about the online watch party that's coming tonight. So myself, Chalmers, and Jay, we're going to be watching the game live on the same channels that the pregame show goes on: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or Twitch. And we're going to start right around puck drop. And basically, we're just going to watch the game with you. If you're watching the game on your TV, you can have us up on your laptop or your iPad or whatever, and it'll be just like we're sitting in your living room with you, watching the game. Gonna, maybe have a few bevies. We're gonna be giving away some Oodle Noodle gift cards, I believe, and we're gonna be giving away some Nation gear as well. So if you're a fan of the Real Life Podcast or Oilers Nation in general, and you want a chance to win some cool prizes, watch our game-long live chat today that we'll be doing the whole game.
I'll be tuned in. Everyone, check it out. And I think that's it for a giant pregame show presented by Sherwood Ford. Anything else you want to add, Tyler?
No, I think we're good. Should be a good one here. Big road trip for the Oilers. 3 straight on the road here.
And we'll see you guys tomorrow because the Oilers play again tomorrow.
We will.
So we'll see you then. Enjoy the game, and we'll see you in the live. What are you guys calling it? The live watch? The watch?
Online, live, not tape, delayed watch party.
That's it. Bye.